prenuptial agreement isn't appropriate for every single marriage, but there are going to be certain people who are getting married who may want to consider it. Do you have any advice on who might be a better candidate for a prenup than someone else?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, the answer I tend to give to, is a prenup right for me or wrong for me is generally it's right for you. Even if you don't have a ton of assets at the beginning of a marriage, or if you think that, you're going to be able to work with your spouse and you don't ever, intend on getting divorced and don't even want to think about it, those are all fair points of view, certainly. But a prenup is much more than just a contract about property rights between, spouses that may at some point divorce. It's much more than that. A prenuptial agreement is a way to opt out of California law. And having that perspective on it, it kind of makes things a little different in terms of what you're thinking about when you're going into a prenuptial agreement. In other words, the California Family Code is a set of default rules that are going to apply to you if you get divorced and don't have an agreement or some written document with your spouse that opts you out of those rules. A lot of people don't like the family code and the rules that that's going to impose upon your relationship. So the way I tend to look at prenups is those are opportunities for you to create your own world in the light of the relationship that you have. So you can decide, okay, well, we're individuals, right? We're getting married. We should be the ones making the call on what rules are going to apply and what those rules are, right? So let's talk about, how are we going to handle this business that we have? How are we going to handle, income after we get married? Is it going to be treated as community property? Is it going to be treated as separate property? How are we going to handle what's called a transmutation agreement when ownership in property is either acquired or changed during the marriage? How is that going to work? It gives you an opportunity to really plan what your legal relationship is going to be, in addition to you taking a step into an emotional and psychological relationship. So a prenup makes sense for everyone. Now, the ones that are the people that are going to be most concerned and most apt to come to me for prenup advice are people that own businesses, people that have a lot of real property, people that have income generating assets or high income jobs, or maybe a job that you don't know what the income is going to be and you kind of want to take the surprise out of it when it happens or doesn't happen. And that's all fair enough. You want to make sure that you're not making any mistakes in terms of whether the community, the marriage is going to acquire an interest in the business or the real property or the investments. That's all well and good. That makes a lot of sense. But even if people come wanting a prenup just to determine how they're going to characterize support, if and when a divorce, God forbid, ever happens in the future, that's a good idea too. And to handle the expectations that each of you are going to bring into a divorce context if it happens, and be able to get you on the same page. And so there's really no income level that I think a prenup is good for. It's going to be more, what issues is this prenup going to deal with? How complicated is it going to be, and how much disclosure do we need to provide for each other and separate counsel in order to make it work?